the hot plates or the hob, an oven, where you've got cold, warm, hot and boiling. We say learn how to invite and become wealthy. And I think this is the most important skill in our business. And how, again, I like to show it to people and I draw it. I'll draw an oven, a hob, a hot plate, and I'll put 4 different plates down there. One is cold, one is warm, one is hot, and one is boiling. And I'll draw a glass and I'll say, if you take that glass of cold water from cold to boiling, it will shatter because it can't go from cold to boiling. It just doesn't work. And I see so many people, and it hurts me so much, that try and take a new person that knows nothing about our industry, they know nothing about our services or products, and they just sign people up and try and get them to go out and market the product or service and introduce other people, and it just won't work. All it does is give our industry a bad name. However, let's think about this. If we take that glass of cold water from cold to warm, and from warm to hot, and from hot to boiling, now we have power. Now we can move a train with steam. We can move an engine. We can move a ship, a liner, because we can turn that water into steam. We have power. And it's exactly the same when we introduce people to the business. So important, guys, that you read this paragraph. Don't just watch the video. You need to read it and metabolize it so it becomes a part of you, so you can teach this on for you to become successful. And that's my number one objective, is for me to help you grow your business and help your people to grow. You have to read the information in the book, not just watch the video. So we start with the cold plate and we make a short telephone call. Now you can't try and explain this business to people over the telephone. It doesn't work. So if people start asking you, what is it? And, tell me more, just say, it's like trying to explain a haircut. It's difficult to do over the phone. What you want to do, you focus. If they really push you, then you may have to say something. But what you really want to do, these are people that that you've picked out the pearls in your list. These are people that, again, you need to read that in the book, but these are people that you need to just get together for 45 minutes, an hour, so you can show the plan, do a 2-to-1 with your sponsor or the stranger, so you can just basically show them an overview of your business. And there's only really, once you arrange that appointment, and that's a whole different scenario altogether, how to make appointments and things. You want to give them a couple of different times or a couple of different days, give them the option, and then also you need to confirm them. But when you go to do the 2-to-1, you're only looking for one thing really, and that is interest. Did they find it interesting? Don't ask people what do they think. And I think the reason for that, there's so much negativity out there about so many different things in the newspaper, on the television. You know what I'm talking about there. That, if you say to people, what do they think, especially if they're close to you, they'll start thinking, well, be careful, it might be a pyramid, or I don't know about, because they're trying to protect you. But if you say to them, what part did you find interesting, or did you find it interesting, then they might say something like, well, I like the fact that you can work with people that you want to work with. I like the fact that it's your own business, but you're in business for yourself, but you're not by yourself because there's other people that will help you. I like the fact that there's no ceiling on my income. I can earn whatever I want to earn. I like the fact that if I want to do it part-time alongside my job or my other business, so they'll look for things that they find interesting, and then gives them some information at the end of the 2-to-1 after you've had, you've shown them the plan and you've had a chat about it. But don't overload them. I see sometimes people giving them videos and giving them books and giving them literature. It's too much, step by step. A good teacher will give his pupil enough information so that it keeps them interested and keeps them moving along. So I would say, use the book, Open Your Mind. It's a recruitment book. It's a great book that will open the mind to this industry, and they'll start to understand it. Maybe give them a brochure about your company's marketing plan, and maybe a brochure about the products or services that your company markets. And at the same time, you want to keep them moving away. Now the warm, the next step, you want to invite them to a company presentation. And that's where, again, you bring them along to a presentation, or if there isn't one, at your home, invite a few people round. And there's two things there that you want to be looking for. Number one is that they meet people. So if it's an older guy, they want to meet older guys. If it's a couple, introduce them to couples. If it's a young woman, introduce them to a young woman. If it's a younger guy, introduce them to younger guys. So try and introduce them to people that they would relate to. But most importantly, that they have fun. Most people, they're working hard all day, so if they come and it's hard work, if it's in in a restaurant or a pub or a hotel, have a drink afterwards and socialise and make it fun. Now, normally, I would suggest people get started there, and the first thing you want to do, they need to become a customer. They need to become a customer themselves. They need to become a product of the product. And then they need to go and get a few customers. That's the number one thing. And I will always go with my new person at least one evening, or maybe a morning on a Saturday, or an afternoon on a Saturday or a Sunday, just to get them started. Again, people will do what you do, not what you say. So if you go with them to help them get the first few customers, they will duplicate that on. The next step, you want to, get them signed up, get them started at this point. If somebody says to me, well, I'd like more information, I'd like to find out more, I might give them a little bit more information. We can get together again, maybe with my sponsor or my sponsor's sponsor, and we will arrange to meet them again. But preferably, I like to get people started then, and then, we need to have a strategy meeting. That's when we move to the hot plate, and we sit down, and I will spend time with the person there. The strategy meeting could take me 3, 4, 5 hours, between 3 and 5 hours. And people say, well, I don't have the time to do that. Well, only with frontline people. Or maybe you can do a training on the strategy meeting. But, it's important. People only care about how much you know once they know how much you care about them. And on the strategy meeting, the first thing is we make that list. We talked about earlier on in one of the videos, or earlier on in the book, about frogs, family, recreation, occupation, geography, same names, social media, etc. Help them make that list. And then we'll pick out the pearls. When I do the list, we put a P by the people. First of all, I say to them, so we take about an hour to get the names down, just the first names, quickly, momentum, yeah? And then that takes about an hour, and then maybe half an hour to pick out the pearls. So I will say, who would they really, really like to work with? Who do they really like to, and they'll say this person here and this person. Okay, we put a P by them for potential pearl. And then this person here. And this was somebody I worked with many years ago, but we used to have such good fun. We really had a laugh, a P by them. And then I'll say, okay, who's been successful that's maybe going through a tough time at the moment? Maybe there's been a recession or a crisis, or the company's downsizing. And they'll say, well, this is my uncle here. He used to have a couple of shops, but he's had to let one go. Okay, let's put a P by him. And we put maybe 20, 30 Ps, and these are potential pearls. Those are the pearls that we're going to phone first of all. So we'll get 20, 30 of those down. And that takes about an hour and a half. Then we'll get a time commitment. And I explain to people, we get some times, we get our diaries out that we talked about earlier on, and we'll book blocks of time in our diary over the next few weeks when we're both going to get together. It's a partnership as far as I'm concerned. And I look at it, when I introduce a new person, I'm going to go and work for them for free. That's how I see it. I'm not going to charge them. And only if they're successful, hey, if they start making money, maybe I'll make 10 to 20% of what they make for helping them and passing on my knowledge. But I will have earned that. But if I help 50 people or 100 people, well, then that's your choice. That's my choice as well. So we talk about time. I normally won't work with somebody unless they can at least give me 5 hours a week. But I also explain to them that, they've got to come to a presentation for those first 90 days, at least one a week, or a get-together. I also like them to come to 3 events, maybe train events or seminars or things like that. Maybe you can have a get together at home where you can read a couple of paragraphs out of the book Power and talk to them and have a discussion about it, or listen to an audio from, there's so many great speakers. There's lots of books and people that you can have a look at in the back of the book. Maybe get some of those books or audios and start, using those to get together and grow and get motivated, because it's tough out there. We do have people that say no to us. But I explain to them on time that, a footballer does his business on a football pitch. A nurse does her business in a hospital. An accountant or a solicitor does his business in an office. If we want to be successful in this industry, we have to go to the company presentation where we come together, because a network marketer does his business at the company presentations. It's like if you wanted to learn to dance, you'd have to have your dancing night. If you wanted to learn yoga, you'd have to have your yoga night. If you wanted to learn to play the guitar, you'd have to have your guitar night. You need to have, whatever your company is, you need to at least get together, because that's when we become strong. That's when, we become part of the team and part of the family that will help us through those difficult days. So I get a commitment on time for 90 days. We set some goals and things. Moving on to the next section, which is goals. We set goals for 90 days. What position do they want to be? What would they like to have earned? What events would they like to go to? Whether they've got a guest or they've not got a guest. I get a handshake that they're going to come to a presentation. That's one of our goals. Every week, it's only 12, and once a month to an event for 90 days. And then on the goals, we talked before, the 3 different time frames. The 90 days, the 1 year, and the 3 years. We talked about the different aspects. I want to know what they want, what their why is. Why do they want to do this business? To help them through the winters. Why? What is it that they want? And we'll have more than one strategy meeting and develop those goals. And we write them down in the diary. And I put down also, I know what they want from this business. And then we get on the telephone and we do that together. We make the telephone calls. So if they're struggling, they can say, I'm with my business partner. Let me just pass you over to him. I don't know enough about the business. And I'll explain, hello, Mr. So-and-so. Tom has just spent, 3 or 4 hours. He's looked at the business. He's read a book. He's done his research. He's made a list of 142 people. And he's picked out a handful of people that he really respects, and you're one of them. Can we just get together? He's told me that you're a busy man. You've got your own business, and it's probably not for you, but you might know some people. We're in your area on Tuesday and Thursday next week. It'd be fantastic if we could just get a coffee together, half an hour, so we can just show you what Tom is doing. And, again, you might know some people that would like to make an extra 300, 500, 700 a month. I can't explain it over the phone. It's impossible. But, it would really help Tom, and he would appreciate it. And, you're one of a few people that he really, really respects. So I would do something like that. My goal with my new person is to get 10 2-to-1s booked in our diaries together over the next week or two. And then the next step is action, but together. I think I've said this before, the lone wolf will not survive. We have to do it together. If you look at a child and they're walking on a railway line, if they're on their own, they walk a few steps and then they fall off. They walk a few more steps, they fall off. But if they're holding hands with somebody, they can walk for hours and hours and hours. And it's the same with this business. We have to do it together. Don't just sign people up and expect them to go out there and do it on their own, because it will not work. So I hope that's helped. Thank you for your time. Make sure you read the book. Open Your Mind is a great book to start explaining to people a little bit about the philosophy and the psychology of this industry. It will open the mind up, but they'll also need some information about your company and their products. And I wish you every success. You know, you can do this, see that seed of greatness inside and in others. And it's just, you know, if you keep talking to people, yes, you're going to get no's, but you're going to get more yeses and you're going to get better. Thank you.